take a moment to thank our sponsor, CatchMark Technologies. All right. Welcome to episode number 1 of the spring season of the Benchwarmers Perspective. Today, I'm here with Pete Zerfas from Fremont, Fremont girls basketball head coach. So this season, pretty successful for you. And I mean, I think conference champions, right?
Yep.
Ended up district champions. I think you guys were in the regional final, or won the region. If I'm not mistaken, I can't quite remember that far. So
It was we made the regional finals for the first time in 47 years.
Yep. So pretty successful season. Looking back at it, what were some of the highlights of this last season?
It's hard to say. We did a lot of things statistically. We tied the school record for wins for boys or girls with 23. I think going undefeated in league the second straight year after finishing 5th or worse for years for the girls, that was a big accomplishment. And just getting to that regional finals, and we lost to Gladstone, but I think we were close. We just didn't shoot great. We were able to do a lot of things we wanted to.
Yep.
We just had a bad shooting night. So those are some of the highlights. I think we took it to another level from the year before, and it was just a really fun season.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, taking 5th in conference, I think you guys played with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder this year, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was. We like last year we went undefeated too and won the conference. So we've been undefeated 2 years in a row. But this year it was more like we were being hunted because of the year before.
Mm-hmm.
And the year before I think that was more of the year we played with a chip on our shoulder, and the girls just hadn't gotten any respect in the past. And this year everyone was coming for us, and I think we played even better. Our closest game was 16 points, and our average win was by 33.
Yep.
So the girls really got after it this year in league.
Yep. So one of the statistics, I think you mentioned it in one of your emails to our sports email earlier this year. You guys shot a ton of threes.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me where that kind of came from, because a lot of high school teams, they shoot a decent amount, but not as much as you guys were. Tell me where that kind of came from.
Well, we shot a lot when I was the boys coach for 21 years. We shot a lot of 3-point shots, and we were known for that. Sometimes criticized for it. But the 2 years I was off coaching, I was watching the girls' game, and I really thought if I ever did coach, and we went up tempo and shot threes, that would be hard to cover. And we don't have a ton of really tall girls or size, but we have a lot of athletes. So last year, my first year coaching girls, we shot 563s, which is a ton. It's one of the most in the state history. And I was joking at our banquet. I said, we're going to shoot more next year. And we ended up, I think it was 700 and something, 750, just an amazing amount. And we made 183. We let them fly. And the only time I'm upset with the girls is if they're open and they don't shoot.
Yeah.
And that's something we've talked about for 2 years, and we continue to get better at it. But yeah, sometimes it's hard to watch if we're not making them. But we do shoot a lot of threes.
So, I mean, I think you mentioned, like, you're mad when they don't shoot, right? Or when they don't shoot an open one. I remember last year I coached Montague JV, and one of the things I said to our team was we just kept looking at the hoop and not, like, you're wide open, or there's somewhat of a contested, guy's closing out on you and not shooting it. I'm like, if that was me and you threw that ball to me and I had a guy within, maybe even in my face, I'm shooting that thing. Like, it's going up. And so I told the guys, I'm like, I want you guys to take some dumb shots, because they were so scared to take a shot. I was like, take some dumb shots, because, like, even if you take 4 or 5 dumb ones, one of them's probably going to go in, and then you got a little bit of confidence, and now you've put shots up. You got to put them up to be able to score points, right? And that completely turned our season around, I felt like. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah, we preach, or I preach to them all the time, that I don't want them afraid to make mistakes. And we have a philosophy and I learned it from watching Notre Dame men years ago, and I just loved it. If you don't take a bad shot once in a while, you're not trying hard enough. And I really think that philosophy helped us win districts last year. We
Yeah.
were way down in the district finals. We're coming back. It's the fourth quarter. We finally take a lead. They come down and make a shot to take a 1 point lead. And within 5 seconds, Jessica Bennett is at about 27 feet. And I just yelled, pull it. And she pulled up and hit a three within 5 seconds of us going back down. And that was pretty much when the game was over. And if we
Yeah.
didn't have that philosophy of taking a bad shot or shooting when you're open, she never would have shot that.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have won.
Yeah. No. And I had a buddy that told me, I played in a league this year, a basketball league, and he told me good shooters take at least one dumb shot a game
Yep.
because they get in a rhythm, and they a good shooter will get in a rhythm, and then you got to have a little heat check every once in a while, come back to
Yep.
earth a little bit, unless you're Steph, and then they just all go in. But
We had a few girls really push the boundaries this year, which I'm completely fine with.
yeah,
Like okay, it's okay to take some bad shots, but let's move the ball a little bit once in a while. But
yeah,
I was never upset when they took shots or tried, or they were just doing the best they could possibly do to help the team.
yep. So you mentioned your boys coach before, really shifting towards the girls. You were boys and girls, if I'm not mistaken, right?
At this moment, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Chris Wank, Century 21 First Class Realty. Looking to sell or purchase a new home? Or perhaps invest in a plot of land? Chris Wank with Century 21 First Class Realty is your go-to expert. As a leader in West Michigan real estate, Chris brings unparalleled knowledge and dedication to every transaction. Don't wait. Call Chris Wank today at 616-414-5420 and take the first step towards your real estate dreams. Century 21 First Class Realty, your trusted partner in West Michigan property.
No, I was 21 years boys varsity. I did a
Yep.
lot of softball coaching. One year I was boys and ninth grade girls at the same time because they didn't have a coach
Yep.
for my daughter's team. But I was for 21 years I was just the boys varsity. I never coached the girls varsity.
Gotcha. Okay.
I always wanted to. I never told anyone that, and I told my team that last year, the first year coaching girls varsity, and it's been great. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
So tell me a little bit, looking back, about the 21 years there of coaching the boys. How'd you get into it? What's kind of your background before then?
My background was more baseball and football. I played basketball, played all three sports, but never thought I'd be a basketball coach. My only goal was to coach baseball, and I was kind of promised that at long, long time ago, and it didn't work out. So I shifted to basketball, went eighth grade, and then moved up to JV. And the varsity job came open, and I got it. It was back in the year 2000, and we won a lot, but coaching basketball in Fremont can be tough. You have to win all the time, or they're going to be on you. And luckily, we did win quite a bit, and it was a very fun 21 years. I still have relationships with those guys from the past, the players. It was a really good experience.
So, and then kind of looking back as well, were you still at the helm when the conference shifted to the new conference, or was that when you kind of transitioned to the girls?
I think that's when I transitioned to the girls. Over the years, we shifted a lot, but
Yeah.
this new conference, that was during the 2 years I wasn't coaching.
Gotcha.
That's when we shifted over.
So since the conference has kind of shifted, and you're looking back, how do you think that's affected, good or bad, the teams that have joined, or that have left, or that have stayed, I guess?
I think it's been a really good transition. I love the teams that we play. There's highly athletic boys and girls teams, and basketball, football. I know a lot of things are run by football when you switch over to conferences, but the basketball, the athletics, and all the sports has been great. I really like the league we're in right now. There's a lot of good teams in it, so I think it's been a good transition for Fremont.
Yeah. So Hart's coming up this year from the Lakes, and I think it's Manistee shifting down. How is that going to affect girls basketball? Because I know that they've had a lot of success, from that side of the conference in girls basketball for Hart. I know they are losing a few key pieces this year, but to graduation. But how is that going to look for girls basketball next year?
I might be wrong, but I think it's one more year. I think, and I could be wrong about this. I think it's the same this year, and then next year Hart comes over. But regardless of what year, Hart runs a great program that's going to add another quality team into our side, our division. Travis does a really good job with his girls there, and that was a close game for us. We won by one. Hart basketball for girls is good every single year, so I like that. I like the better teams in there.
Yeah, it is two more. We got next year, and then it happens the year after that. You're right.
Yeah. Yep.
Anything outside of that? What do you kind of for boys as well? At Hearts, I mean, they were a solid squad this year. I think they only lost in conference to North Muskegon. How do you think that's going to play around in the Lakes division?
I think talking boys, I think that's going to be very good for that division. I watched that game at Districts too, where they played Ludington, and Heart's a really good program. They have a great young coach, and I think Fremont is going to take a jump this year for boys. We're coached by Kit Powell, who's a former player of mine and assistant coach, and they really came on this year, and they bring a lot of players back, and they're doing the right things. I think we're going to be quite competitive in the league next year also.
Yep.
But adding Hart to the boys side as well as the girls I really like that.
Yeah. And then looking at the boys division, Camden Thompson's going to be graduating. And you got a few other bigger names, Peyton Rule for Oak Ridge. Much different conference next year, from the boys side, at least, with graduation.
Yeah, yep. I think there's a couple teams. Ludington will be favored, in my opinion. They return everyone, if not everyone but one guy, and they made a nice run and improved. Thad always does such a good job there. We had lots of battles over the years as a boys coach. I think Whitehall is going to be good again. I know they lose almost everybody, but Whitehall has a lot of athletes. And again, and I'm a Fremont guy, but I think Fremont makes that jump next year, and they're in the mix for the league, just based on who they have coming back, the size they have coming back, and the way Kit did things down the stretch. You could see the improvement in confidence, and if they have a good.
At this moment, we would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Green Ridge Realty. Looking to buy, sell, or finance property in West Michigan? Look no further. Chris Dykman and Sarah Real, the trusted names in West Michigan real estate, are here to guide you every step of the way. With years of experience and deep understanding of the local market, they make your real estate dreams a reality. Visit Green Ridge Realty at 323 East Colby Street, Whitehall, and let the experts take care of you. Ready to make your move? Contact Green Ridge Realty today.
Summer, I think they're going to be quite good this next year.
Yeah, I agree. They were young heading into this year, and I think they got some of that experience in the first half of the season. Then you saw that experience kind of help them through the end of the season as they got towards playoffs. Looking at this next season for you guys, what is going to be like? What is the outlook for girls basketball up at Fremont?
Well, we got to replace a couple good ones, but we did the year before too. Every year you got to replace some. Mia Clements, who's All-State, just got named All-State in the BCAM today, was Associated Press All-State. She's going to be tough to replace because she did a lot of things. Riley Chase, just so good, and a 3-year varsity starter. But we have a lot coming back. We have some good ones coming up with the JV. We have an 8th grade team that hasn't lost in 3 years. We have the varsity team that we have right now. We have a lot of returners that got good minutes. We returned 3 starters. We returned the best player in the whole league, the returning player, and that's Taylor DeKuyper is just a fantastic player, and she was All-State in both teams also, or 2 different teams. We don't have a ton of size, but we didn't this year. We are loaded with guards, and they are motivated, and they're good. I think we'll maintain what we've done with the potential to be maybe even a little better.
Yep. You mentioned not having bigs. The way you guys play, I don't even know if you necessarily need them. I mean, if you're running gun, getting up and down the floor, it'd be helpful, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's not as big of a deal when you're moving at a quick pace, and trying to get the ball moving and find the open 3, right? looking at the kind of, I think this actually would apply for both divisions. I've heard lots of conversations about a shot clock. What's your opinion on the shot clock for both girls and boys?
I would love it, just that the way we play. I mean,
Yep.
even if it's 35 seconds, we never got to 35 seconds anyways.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's fair to schools that are smaller or don't have the talent that want to move the ball and control the pace and go 35, 40, 45 seconds or longer. But I would love it. It makes for a better game, a fun game. You look at just crowd sizes for girls in Fremont this year. Before I coached, there'd be 150, 200 people there. Scores were in the 30s. Well, we averaged almost 65 points this year, and we had the biggest crowds we've ever had. We had over 2,000 at a game, 1,500, 1,200. They love that pace, how hard the girls work, how the ball moves fast. So shot clock, I'd be all for it. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily agree with it, but I would absolutely love it.
Yeah, I would too. I think especially in the late game, it poses some different challenges, I guess, where you can't really just walk around and run the clock out like has been the mantra
Right.
for every high school for the last, or most high schools basketball teams for the last, I don't know, however many years. Get down to the last 2 minutes of the game. We're going to go four corners and just run around with the ball until you foul us, basically.
Yeah.
And it's not that that's a huge deal. You're trying to win the game. That's the smart thing to do. But at the same time, crowds have been slowly diminishing in high school sports for last probably 10 years now. And when you add some variety to the game and you really push the ball and get it moving, I think it exponentially increases the watchability. And
I agree. The end of the game, like you mentioned too, that would be the more interesting part.
Yep.
Where you can't hold the ball for a minute and you don't necessarily have to use your fouls because there's a shot clock
Yep.
there.
Yeah, and then the other thing on top of that is, I think how I mentioned earlier, kids are really scared to shoot the ball sometimes. I think when you have a shot clock, they're kind of like, oh crap, I got 35 seconds, I got to shoot this ball, and so it helps develop kids a little bit more because now they're thinking I have a certain amount of time before I have to get that shot off. And I more and more as I've been coaching, I see kids who are just afraid to shoot, afraid to shoot, afraid to shoot, and you really got to tell them like it's okay, just shoot the ball.
Yeah.
And I think a shot clock would kind of naturally do that, and it would help develop kids a little bit more.
I think it's coming within the next couple of years. From what I've talked to coaches across the state or different times, the one thing holding it back is the ability for schools to get an additional person at the bench there in the middle to run the shot clock.
Yep.
And so that's a small thing, but
At this moment, we would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Park Place Sports. Want to support your local athletics program? Look no further than Park Place Sports. As a leader in banner and sponsorship program for athletes, they provide top-notch services to help your team shine. Visit their Facebook page, Park Place Sports, LLC, and see how they can elevate your athletic program today. Park Place Sports, your partner in athletic excellence.
there are a lot of schools that have a hard time getting volunteers, but once we get past that hurdle, I think it's going to be there in the next year or two.
Yeah, and you can't even. I wouldn't say it's just a volunteer to do it. You have to have a volunteer who knows how to do it and
Correct.
understands it. Which in high school it hasn't been a thing for so long. And if you don't watch college basketball or you don't watch NBA basketball, you won't really understand and have a good idea. So you can't really just be like, "Hey, you from the middle of the stands, come down and help" or something. You have to kind of be like, "Okay, this is when you start, when you stop, how you reset it, what it resets to," and it would introduce a lot of different needs for the school, I think, but it would be such an awesome addition. I think it would really help the game.
It wouldn't probably make a difference with us because we shoot so fast, and
Yeah.
I think we'll be faster next year. I really do.
Yeah.
But there's been situations at the end of the game this year. It was, I don't know, 3 or 4 times we're up 10, 12, 15 with a minute and a half to go. And that's the time you move the ball. And we could not get a shot up fast enough. So I'd have to call timeout and say, hey, look, we're up 15. It's okay if you don't shoot. And it's just transitioning them back to slowing it down a little bit. So hard.
Which honestly, in my opinion, it's easier to get a team to slow down than speed up, because when you got to slow them down, like it's just like, okay, we got to make 4 passes and then we're good to shoot or something. Whereas when you're trying to speed them up, you're like, you got to move it faster. It's hard for a kid to understand like moving faster when they feel like they're already moving as fast as they can.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll put rules in practice, and we'll practice that almost every day. You got to have the ball across half court in 3 seconds off a rebound, 5 seconds if the team made it. So you got to take it out of bounds. So we practice those things until it becomes natural. I think we can do better, but we practice playing fast because most of the teams we play do not. They simply don't play fast. And we'll just crank music as loud as I can so they have to concentrate on what I'm saying even
Yeah.
when they can't hear necessarily, and we play fast and we practice that style.
Yeah, I love that style. That would be how
Yeah.
I play all the time if I could. No, I'm not fast enough to be able to do that, but we can get it going.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, looking at the seasons ahead, looking at the teams coming up, and kind of the league overall, what do you kind of see the league doing? How do you see it shifting through the next few years?
I think we're going to still be pretty good.
Yep.
I'm not saying we'll win anything, but I think we'll have a really good chance. Ludington again, who's always good at basketball, they were very good last year, and they had a good JV team. They're the only team that beat our JV team, and they were both close games. But so they'll be right there. I like what the Montague coach is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think she does a really good job teaching the fundamentals. And with the other schools, Whitehall always has athletes, and they had some good players, so they should be pretty good. I have talked with the Oak Ridge coach here and there, and I like the stuff that he is doing. And then when you add Hart into that mix, they're going to instantly be in that top three somewhere. They always are. So I really like the direction our league is going. I think they're going to be very good teams, and it'll be competitive night in and night out.
You know, the big thing I'm happy about, not having to drive to Manistee every week. That's such a save. Like, it's a great place, but it's such a long drive.
It is. We had to do, not this year, but last year, we had think it was a Thursday trip to Manistee. It was awful. It was last year, and it was when we were figuring out, okay, we might be okay. Or no, it was Ludington first. It was like Wednesday or Thursday to Ludington, and we had to turn around the next day and go right back up to Manistee.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning both, and that's when we realized last year, it's like, oh, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
But back-to-back trips all the way up north.
It's just draining. Like, you wouldn't think a bus ride is as mentally draining as it is, but it can kill you when you get into a game. Sometimes you're just a little more lax. It was almost an advantage for them last year because you get off that 45-hour drive up there and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I'm not even focused anymore. I don't know if I want to play. I want to go take a nap.
I give the girls a Bluetooth stereo. It's a pretty loud one.
Yeah.
And we have music everywhere. In the locker room, on the bus, in practices. And I just let them play their music on the bus. And then usually on the way home, same thing. So it cuts into that long bus ride.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How do you think that helps you, playing music?
I think it's great. I think the girls enjoy it. I think music motivates. We had a huge speaker that would come up to your waist last year, and we would carry that everywhere. And this year I went and got one that was easier to carry and just as loud. And they love listening to the music. They dance. As one of our themes last year was, I hope you dance, which means, don't make a mistake. Don't be afraid to dance in front of other people. But they're dancing nonstop in the locker room to the music, in practice. It's all the time. And I think it creates a fun environment.
Yeah. Yeah. How important do you think that environment is to developing basketball players?
It's everything. And, as far as that environment goes, we do a lot of team bonding. It's something we're becoming known for in Fremont. Every week we do something. We had an overnight up in Canadian Lakes. We have team dinners every week together or at a parent's house or at my house. I hired a professional line dancing instructor this year and surprised the girls. And they got dressed up and we went to a place where you can do line dancing. And this lady, I paid her, a bunch of money, and she came in and taught our girls line dances, and they loved it. So we try to do a lot of stuff, bowling. We just do different things that are not basketball related.
Thank you to our sponsor, High Performance Carpet and Tile Cleaning. Do you need your home or business carpet or tile refreshed? Looking brand spanking new? Well, these are the guys to do it. With an extensive background in the carpet and tile industry. They will leave your floors looking brand new. Give them a call today at 231-299-9296.
And it creates a closeness within our team that you wouldn't get otherwise. And they'll do anything on the court for the girls that they're so close to.
Yeah.
So that's a really big thing for our program, is that team bonding.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams lose out on that, actually. I think that not doing that and not really creating a team that's not just a team, but it's almost like a family, is becoming harder and harder. And I think you have to do more and more to do that. And I think schools just, or not schools, I should say, but teams are just not able to invest that. And when you don't, it really harms the team. And it's awesome to see what you guys have done. I've heard nothing but good things about the team bonding you guys have done.
Yeah.
Throughout the last couple of years. What are you most excited for as we look towards the future?
I think it's not just a 1 or 2 year thing for us in basketball and girls basketball. I'm really looking forward to maintaining what we've done, and then maybe each year getting a little better at it. We got a lot of statewide respect this year as far as over in the east side and different places, and I think we can continue with that. We have a lot of good girls coming up, a lot of hardworking girls. They're in the gym right now shooting, the ones that are not in the sport. And I'm just excited for that development of the program and to continue with it. And, I'm always looking forward to those team bonding things.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. Riley Chase renamed them this year. She called them Just for Funsies because they had nothing to do with basketball. We're going to do something this summer besides team camp. I don't know what yet. Last year I had 4 rustic cabins on 3 acres, and we went there and played teams in the area and had campfires and cookouts and different things. And we're just trying to do different things all the time to have fun while developing basketball.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. You mentioned you were before you got into basketball, you were kind of a football guy. Do you still pay pretty close attention to the WMC high school football in the area?
Oh, absolutely. I loved football. It might have been my best sport in high school. The only thing I wanted to coach was baseball, but I pay attention to football more than any other sport outside of basketball.
Yep.
Because I just love football. And our assistant coach, Jared Hudson, is our head football coach, and I think he's doing a really good job to turn our football program around. And I think that's another team on the rise. And they're close. I think they're. Really close.
They set a record for most touchdowns scored in one game this year with Montague. Was it 70-64 or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 70-64. It was a crazy score.
Yeah.
And they had a couple other games where they scored a lot of points too.
Yeah.
So I love watching those games. I'll even pay attention to the scores. I'm a little bit of a stat geek, and I'll look up every score after Fridays, not just Fremont's. And I'll do the same with basketball, but. It's, I think, an exciting season coming up in football.
What is your prediction for this next season, especially with Whitehall has shifted a lot, and then the success of Ludington, I think, added a lot. And then when you look at the Rivers division, North Muskegon was as close as you can be to a state final game, and just barely out of it. And they got a lot of young talent. They got some graduating. I think what's your prediction for this year?
That's a tough one. Whitehall is always going to be towards the top, even though they lose all those players. And then you got to look at the success Montague and Oak Ridge have in football. Just tremendous football programs. But boy, I like Ludington. I think, and I think we're going to be close to that top 4. I don't know that we're quite ready to win a conference yet. I think it's possible, but I think we're within a year or 2 of being there. Ludington just has a lot of kids coming back, and I think the style they play, and they're up a little more up tempo also. I think they could surprise some teams.
So Montague just hired a new coach. How much do you think that has to play into their success this season?
I don't know much about who the new coach is. It certainly plays something because a new coach usually comes in and changes everything and changes the offense and the defense. And so I don't know what he's bringing, or I don't know how many players Montague brings back, but they're always pretty good, it seems.
Yeah, they were pretty young last year. They had a few guys. They've got probably one of the best running backs in the conference coming back next year, with Devlin Dean, and they've also got some big pieces. I think Eli Peterson, who played quarterback last year, is coming back. They lose some on defense because they lose some size there with Riley Mulder and a few other guys graduating, but still, it's. I think they'll be solid this year. Like you said, I think they'll be up in that top 4, top 5 range for the conference this year. I think it's going to be one of the best conference battles. I think it could come down to the final week. You know what I mean? Like, I could see very easily Oak Ridge, Ludington, Whitehall, Montague, Fremont. I could see all those teams competing, even Orchard View. Like
Orchard View came on last year. They went good athletes.
Let's take another moment to thank our sponsor, Shoreline Restoration and Construction. Did a storm recently hit your business, home, or other building? Then Shoreline Restoration and Construction can help. They are a leader in remodels, new construction, and much, much more. They also restore water-damaged buildings, flooded basement, and so much more.
They hadn't won a game in they didn't win a game last year, the year before, or the year before that, and possibly longer. I might be wrong. But then last year they came out and they won 2 games, and they were competitive in almost every game they played. And that's a huge turnaround for them. So I could easily see them being a team next year. And speaking of Orchard View, I think they'll be a team, kind of a team to beat in basketball as well. They gave some people some fits last year. Very similar to Manistee, where they didn't win a ton. They won some games, but they had 1 or 2 games where they were big games and they played really well. And they play scrappy defense.
That could be a really deep boys basketball league.
Yeah.
When you look at everyone that's coming back, and Whitehall has dominated that the last couple of years. But with what Ludington has, I think Whitehall's going to be in it. I think Fremont, Orchard View, like you're talking about, Oak Ridge, there's no off games. It's going to be every league team you play you're going to have to be ready for it.
Going back to football though, I think it could come down to maybe the last 1 or 2 weeks that you're talking about for a conference championship. I think that, like you said, Oak Ridge, Whitehall, all those teams are going to put up fights. I think it's going to be a fun season to watch. Honestly, I'm super excited for it.
So am I. I think, and being a Fremont homer, I think we're close. If we could just get one of those games against one of those better teams, the confidence level will just skyrocket, and we might be in it. But we got to take that jump and get one of those teams first.
Yeah. So kind of looking at the end of this year, heading into spring and finishing out the season, what's on the radar for Fremont basketball? What should we be watching out for as we head into the spring?
For Fremont basketball, especially, we're working on our shooting, and like we talked about, and everyone says they're working on their shooting. We shoot a lot, and we can create shots and get shots. We're working on raising our percentages 3%. I've been talking with the girls that are not in the sport, and we've been shooting a lot. Just 3%. Let's raise everything 3%. We're going to still take shots. And we have a shooting coach coming in from Grand Rapids who's pretty well known, or his shooting system is called Make Shots. And he's been working with not only high schools, but colleges. So we have him coming in this summer. We just locked that up. We're going to work on fundamentals all summer long. I think those are more important than playing other teams in June. So we're going to shoot a lot. And that's going to be our goal, is just 3% increase in our shooting, both overall and 3-point shooting. And if we can do that, that could be, we averaged 65 points a game, which was more than any girls team, and I think more than any boys team in our area, or close to it. If we can just shoot 3% higher, we might get to 70 points a game. So that's what we're looking at this spring and this summer, improving.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on. This was an awesome conversation. I'm super excited to have you open our spring season. And I'm excited to see what you guys do this year.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We talked about our team bonding. Team bonding is the CatchMark experience every year.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. The girls love it. And thank you for the support you've given us over the last couple of years also.
Quick break from the action to thank our sponsor. Meraki Performance is a leader in performance coaching. Whether you're looking to motivate your business or your athletic team, Meraki Performance can help. Check them out at merakiperform.com.